Have you ever heard of DoorDash, Willie Do?
Something
DoorDash?
about food?
Yeah, I guess
Delivery or
it's like
something?
Uber Eats. They bring you a meal. They deliver a subpar meal to you that used to be good. At
Subpar.
the time it was picked up, it was good, and now
There's spit all over it.
it just isn't what it used to be.
Yeah.
That should be the motto of all these companies. They deliver you a meal that used to be good. It was good at one point in time. I don't know. Look, they get it to you. It's still food. Relax. But I'm just saying, it used to be better. You can't argue that.
Still food.
No, it used to be better. You can't argue that. Like, as soon as it came off the grill in the restaurant, it was at peak. It was peak performance. You're getting a sub-peak. We just talked about peak with the power consumption. You're getting off-peak hour. You're getting off-peak food. Pre-peak. It peaked before it got to you. Anyway, I don't like these services. I just go to a restaurant. All right, I live my life. I go out in nature. I go to the restaurant. You understand? I don't need another reason to sit on a couch. I got lots of reasons to sit on a couch. Smartphones, laptops. I get out there. Okay, but whatever. You might be busy. You work a hard job. You're in the sun. I talked about this.
Yeah.
And you just need a DoorDash here and there. So I understand. But anyway, they're in the news right now because apparently you tip the DoorDash guy, he doesn't get the tip. That's actually his wage, apparently. And people were outraged about this a while ago, but it's resurfacing now because apparently nothing ever happened. And it's the same story over again. And it's kind of, as much as I don't use these services, I find it be deceptive that you tell the person that they're tipping the guy and they're not tipping the guy. And maybe if they were tipping the guy, the service would be substantially different because the guy would be like more invested in it than knowing that your tip is just going to pay his regular wage anyways. I don't like it. Like, I understand I've traveled to certain places in the world where tipping is less of a thing that goes on, but it's so well understood here in North America that it does matter. It does affect outcomes. If you tip well, your experience is different. Now, I'm not saying it should be that way. I'm not saying I agree with it, whatever. It could be different where you are, but it does work in places where it is understood in my personal experience. Vegas being a perfect example where tipping, if you go to a resort in the Caribbean somewhere, like without tipping, you're dead. You're done. Yep. You're just not even existing. So anyhow, in this case, whether you agree with tipping or not, they're telling you, in fact, their language says specifically 100%. They claim Dashers keep 100% of customer tips. Now, the way they're able to state that on the app when you make the order is because they have a really low per delivery guaranteed minimum, as low as $1. It could be $1 and then an additional $3. Like, let me just give you this demo. This is a demo that Gizmodo drummed up. Let's say a delivery promises a minimum of $8 and a customer tips $4 on the order. DoorDash applies the $4 tip toward the base pay. We'll pay $1 and then cough up an additional $3 to make the difference. So the tip goes to the wage first as part of the minimum order fee represented that the DoorDasher gets when the order comes in. So the person thinks they gave a $4 tip when in reality, in this case, what is the tip worth? On $8, $4 went towards the $8. There's no tip. Is there a tip? No, there's no tip. There's no tip. You tipped nothing in that circumstance. Now,
you're paying for their wage.
If you tip $10, there's a $2 tip against the minimum.
Yeah.
But you would need to give a massive tip to actually tip them. Bigger than your order, potentially. It's so bizarre. I don't really know. But I guess people do give massive tips because your order is not going to be $8. Your order on DoorDash would be like $20, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, maybe it maps out a little differently depending on the size of the order. This is particularly terrible, obviously, on a low order where the tip may be small to begin with. You got to wonder why how much these people are going to care. But the real issue is not about the tipping. It's not about the order minimum. It's not about the agreement, actually, that the DoorDash employee makes with the company. It's about the deceptive nature in which the company, DoorDash, communicates with the client, which is you, the buyer, in making it seem like you're tipping 100% of the tips and stay with the person delivering, when in reality, it's just some fancy legal language to allow that to take place. So that's deceptive. I don't think it's cool. I get it. the people who get into this job probably understand it very quickly that, hey, this is how it works. You don't have to do it. They have the choice. They don't have to do this job. But on the customer side, to me, it's no argument. If this is the model and this is how it works, a customer should know how that breakdown's going so that they're not like there was a similar situation with Uber. Like you never knew what was going on. In the early days, they're like, no tip necessary, right? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Early days of Uber, they're like, it's worked in. Then the tip thing showed up and you're like, wait a sec. Is there tips now? And then drivers would tell you, hey, tips are welcome. And you'd be like, but the message and even the marketing earlier, I feel like I remember was like, no. The point is for this to be seamless. No tip. You just tap the thing. It's all in one fee. So they've been playing around with this confusing language for a while, but you can understand why it's beneficial to them. If they can get the tips to cover the wages, the margins go way up.
Exactly.
So you understand where it goes. But I will say, in defense of DoorDash, not that I'm trying to defend it, I still feel it's deceptive. You have these similar models exist in actual physical restaurants where there will be waiters and waitresses will earn lower than minimum wage because of the presumption of the tip coming through. Mm-hmm. And they allow them to do that because of how substantial tips can be. So for people in countries where tips don't take place, tips can be massive. They can completely overwhelm. You can make way more money than a typical server. If you do a good job and you earn a lot of tips, it can overwhelm your entire salary. And so those types of situations exist. So the tip culture, in a way, can be beneficial as well if it's worked out and it's well understood where that money's all going. And me as a customer, I want to know where it's going, ideally.
There's a solution here, though. It's they say to just tip them in cash.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Simple.
But who has cash? Yeah, you got to have, you're using DoorDash on the app. Do you have cash lying around? Maybe. That's right. Willie Doo gave a good example there, though. You could just tip the DoorDashers. You could tip the dashers and cashers.